You know, being a professional angler, obviously, once again, I'm not tooting my own horn. It's just the honest to goodness truth. Most of the guys, a lot of my buddies around the house and stuff that I get in the boat with, I'm going to be better with them. Heck, I hope I am. It's how I've made my living for 10 years. You know, I'm gonna be a better fisherman than most of those guys are. But I've picked up some of the best lessons that I've ever learned in fishing from guys that weren't half as good a fisherman as I am. And you know, I've thought about this a lot. You know, I fish a lot of Bassmaster Opens. My entire career, I've always fished at least one division of the Opens. I'm going to do it again this year. And in the Opens, we have co-anglers. And I've picked up a lot of really cool stuff from co-anglers as well. And a lot of times it's the same way. Those guys may not be quite as good a fisherman as I am, but sometimes I'll pick up on something. And I'll tell you a quick little story. We were fishing a Bassmaster Open on the Harris chain several years ago, and I actually drew a guy that was from the Carolinas. He was from right here local. And I was going down this little shell bar deal with a big rattle trap, and I'm rattle trapping, and I'm not getting them to bite. I had a couple good bites there in practice. Well, he's just dragging a speed worm out behind me. He catches a good one, and then he catches like a 5-pounder. Y'all may know who I'm talking about. He catches like a 5-pounder, and I'm like, man, what is going on back here, you know? And I look at that speed worm, and he's throwing I'll never forget it, he's throwing a tilapia magic colored speed worm, and he's got the tail dyed orange, bright orange. We're in Florida now, we're on the Harris chain. That's a combination that I never would have thrown down there. If you throw something in Florida, it's gotta be June bug, you know, red bug, black and blue. Those are Florida staples, not tilapia magic with an orange tail. And he's just whacking them, man. And I'm like, might need to get me some of them, you know. So we go through the day, I catch a decent bag. We go back out there on day 2. Well, the afternoon after day 1, I go to the local tackle store. I buy me a pack of tilapia magic speed worms. Yep, I always carry orange dye in the boat. I already had that, but I just didn't have any of those worms. So I got me some, get back out there on that second day. I get to that spot, and I caught 24 pounds on that spot, on that exact tilapia magic speed worm with the orange tail on day number 2. Ended up making the top 10 in that tournament because it was only a 2-day deal. We got delayed because one day got canceled because we had storms come through. But that was an instance where, you know, guys can look at that a couple of different ways. I've heard a lot of guys say, yeah, that co-angler behind me, he caught my fish, you know, blah, blah, blah. But you can look at that the other way. Hey, he just dialed me into something. And I mean, I may have not have had what I needed the first day, but that second day I went and got what I needed, and I busted a big bag because of it. So that was an instance where I felt like, in the grand scheme of things, I was probably a little bit better fisherman than this guy, but I picked up something very, very valuable from him. I'll give you another, for instance. One of my best friends back home, we started fishing club tournaments together many years ago, and he's a big jig guy, and I was more of a flipping jig kind of guy. Well, he was big on casting a jig, and my favorite color, like when I'm flipping a jig, is just a straight solid brown. That's what I throw majority of the time. Well, we start fishing these tournaments together, and he casts a jig just all the time, casting a jig, and I noticed he'd catch them every time. You know, if we were fishing a team event, he may not get but 1 or 2 bites, but he's going to catch a couple of good fish throughout the day. And he's throwing a green pumpkin and orange jig. Now, I know that's not any secret color or anything, but guess what? It didn't take me long, and I gained some dang confidence in a green pumpkin and orange jig. So you can always pick up something from fishing with other people. So don't be afraid to go hop in a boat with a man. Now, I'm not telling you to take that man to your best spots. I'm not telling, you know, if it's somebody that you really don't know, there may be some stuff you need to try to keep from him a little bit, but you can pick up a lot from fishing with other people for sure. So